Hello, welcome, weary traveller, to another episode of Matthew Answers the Internet, the show where I, with a bunch of your help, endeavour to answer all of the internet's burning board game questions. You know, there's a question that I see so much, and it's all about Essen. The question is, what is Essen actually like? So, I'm gonna Essen. Join me, we're gonna discover what it's actually like.
The first thing to think about is how the heck you're gonna get to Essen. Not to Germany, to Essen. I'm gonna leave getting to Germany up to you.
Well, fly into Düsseldorf, that's the first thing.
Fly into Düsseldorf, because Düsseldorf and Essen are pretty close to each other, about 25 minutes, half an hour away by car. You can drive as fast as you want on this road, or as I like to think, as fast as you dare. We're stopping in Düsseldorf with our good friend Dave, and we're driving in. Now, we're driving in an hour and a half before Essen starts, because the longer you leave it, the longer it takes you to get there.
There are a lot of parking spaces right close to the fair, but they are closing them just to have people park outside of the area to not congest the area with traffic, but it still happens.
So you have to get a bus from those car parks to Essen. But if you are stopping in Düsseldorf or anywhere around, public transport and getting to Essen via public transport, the train, like trams and that type of thing, buses, is totally possible, totally doable, and not that complicated.
The fair actually has two subway stations.
Two! Those greedy Germans.
I don't even know what I'm doing.
This is how far I let you walk to the convention.
This is a press car park, so it might be different.
your
Your results might differ. Everyone's taking a picture of the crowd. If you want food at Essen, the best place to go, well, one of the main places to go is this Galleria. It kind of connects all the different halls. I'm showing it you now so that I can show you what it will look like in just a few hours. It's very busy now for food, right? Is any of it good? Probably it's okay. Honestly, finding food at Essen isn't a problem. Queuing for it and the cost, those are the extra issues. But finding it, you can't really move without bumping into food. It's the official Spiel shop. All the official Spiel, I'm going to say Spiel a lot, aren't I, during this video. All the Messe merch that you could get. That sign might look very complicated, but it's just telling us where the halls are and the fact that the halls have been colour coordinated so that family games are in one area and gamer games are in other areas. This is quite obviously a family area with Cosmos and Catan and all that type of stuff. This is Meeps, the Essen mascot. Is it creepy? Yeah, a little bit. Is he cute? Yeah. This is Hall 7. It's kind of like one of the entrance halls. Yes, there's 7 halls. But this one's useful because if you're doing the maths trade, which you can do, sign up the maths trade and bring all your games with you. I mean, if you're in Germany, maybe that makes more sense. And everyone's holding up signs. It's pretty chaotic, but quite a lot of fun. And you can buy games from maths trade. You don't have to bring anything with you. If you want to find some bargains at Spiel, find the maths trade on Board Game Geek, sign up to it, and bid on a bunch of things. Some people do it like starting bids, some people are just offering prices. It's a great way to get a bunch of bargains at Spiel. It's coming to here, normally it's around 3 o'clock-ish on some of the days, and you can do the maths trade. I never knew to do that before, but I was helping a friend and they had a bunch of games like, I would have bought this. And you can get loads of bargains that way. If you do buy too many games, there's no judgment here, but what were you thinking? There is a way to have those games sent home to you. Is it free? You bet your Nelly it's not free. But it does exist. You can have all your games boxed up, shipped like a child in the mail, and then I think it takes it's not overnight freight, let's just put it that way. But eventually, you'll find a nice reward in the post and you'll go, oh, I treated myself. And this is how you do it. It's in Hall 7. You can get all your boxes shipping labels, have it sent off. You don't have to buy another suitcase or worry about carrying it all. What on earth do you do if you've got too much stuff with you and you think, if I have to carry this any longer, I'm going to die? Well, I have you sorted. This is a cloakroom. A lot of people, and there's other cloakrooms at some of the entrances for like actual cloaks, I guess. There's some cosplay that goes on here. But this is a way to have like, I need to store a suitcase full of games. And you can do this here. You can pay obviously per item of luggage that you kind of put in here. And this is just suitcases and suitcases of board games. But it is a way to have all that stuff with you. Collect it, it's safe, nothing's going to happen to it. The next thing I'm going to show you is what I think is probably one of the best kept secrets of Spiel. It does involve the bathroom. At least for this year, there's been this Asmodee business lounge. Do you have any Asmodee business? This is your lounge. However, before you go into the Asmodee business lounge, officially, and they will ask for your name, we did have a meeting in here and they did not, it's fine, it all works out in the end. There's some toilets down here and there's no queues for them ever. It's great. Look, the toilet situation at Essen, there's a lot of toilets, but let's be honest, there's a lot of people. The toilet situation isn't always fantastic. But there's some toilets down here, Hall 7 near the Asmodee Business Lounge. They're the best toilets. One thing you might have noticed about us walking around Spiel is that no one has any, like, there's no, what are they called? Badges. There's no badges because it's all done on the Spiel app. We have an app called Spiel 24. You kind of do need to get that app. It's on all the things, but you get that app, you can have your ticket put onto your app. So when you leave Spiel, you have to go through, it looks something like that. So when you leave Spiel, what you have to do is go to one of these fine people and they will give you a wristband, and that's to help you get in and out. But it does mean that you don't have to walk around the badge. I hate the badges. I hate wearing them.
The only thing I like about a badge is only if it has your name on it.
Oh, do you know what?
I really like seeing people's names on their badges. But if it's a badge that doesn't have names on it, garbage, dump it.
Sometimes I've been asking people for their business card just so I knew what their name was, honestly. When I don't have them, nightmare.
What happens when they watch this and realize we didn't know their name?
I needed that person's business card for important business. So.
Yeah, right, yeah. We needed yours for a reason.
But the Spiel app is fantastic because what you can do on it as well is you can find all the games that you want, put them into a list or that type of thing. You can type the name of a publisher or a game into the app and it'll tell you where they are in the 6 halls. And sometimes even if you know that, down to the exact location of them, it's still pretty hard to find them. But before anything else, here's a message from a Canadian man about board game insights.
Well, we know playing a game is fun. It's just too bad there's no way to make setting up and storing a game fun. Or is there? Of course there is, thanks to the fine folks at Folded Space who make affordable, lightweight, and functional inserts to ensure setting up and storing your game is easy and fun. They have an entire line of custom inserts, and I'm going to give you a quick example showing this one they have for Wormspan. Not only does this help you organize the game's components, but because it's modular, many of its sections come right out of the box ready to play from. And this is from their newer line of inserts, which include imagery on the outside edges to match the game's theme, allowing the insert pieces to complement your play area during the game. One of my favorite new features is the labeling you'll find in the different sections of the insert to remind you where each of the different pieces go. When you're done playing, everything goes back inside the box easily along with the boards and rule books so that each section is enclosed, allowing the lid to fit snug for either horizontal or vertical storage. It can even withstand a shake test. Or maybe I should have said, I hope it can withstand the shake test. Let's find out. Now there are some rule books and player boards to take away, but once we do, I think we can say this passed the shake test with flying colors. The entire product is packaged as 3 boards that punch out easily to ensure there's no damage to the edges. You then assemble the pieces using the clear to follow guide. All you need is a bit of PVA glue and you'll have it put together in no time. And this is just one of their inserts. They have over 170 more, with new ones being added all the time. If you like what you see here and you want to pick up one or many of their inserts directly, go to foldedspace.net, which is also linked in the description of this video. In the United States, you'll also find them for sale at Miniature Market and at Board Game Bliss in Canada.
When moving around Spiel, one thing that people very rarely take into account is transit time. Come on. Transit time is an incredibly important factor of moving from hall to hall, because something that's just over there is going to take you longer to get there than you realize, especially if you see something shiny and cool beforehand. Something that's just around the corner isn't always just around the corner. Give yourself time between this demo that you booked and this demo that you booked, because if you do those back to back, you're not going to make the second one. It can vary booth by booth, but as you can see, if you've got a hot game like Lord of the Rings, The Duel, the new Seven Wonders thing, you might want to book a demo. Some booths will let you book a demo at a time slot and you can get there at that time and book the demo and you know you're going to have that demo. But not all booths are like that. Sometimes you're going to have to hover, stand around, but people play full games here. People aren't just playing a little round or getting a preview. They might be playing the whole game. So if you see some people start, they might not be done for an hour with their demo. That's very different to a lot of other conventions, right? Where you can sit down, learn, and play through a whole game. So while there's a lot of tables and stuff, sometimes it's still quite difficult to get a demo, and you've got to hope that that demo version and the person talking to you is going to be in English. You need to check to know if the demo or the game itself, if it's got language in it, is going to be in English or probably in German. On some booths, you can get a table, then go to like a desk. It's like this at Cosmos's booth, and they will give you a copy of the game, and then you go and learn it, and there'll be people around like game gurus to help you with the game. But oftentimes the rulebook for those games is going to be again in German, and Google Lens and Translate will only get you so far. Me and Paula tried to play a game earlier and we're like, there's only a German rulebook here, so I guess we're not playing this one. Something to think about. Talking about language, something else to take into consideration is that some of these much bigger shops, like the shop for Asmodee, very often there's going to be a German line and an English line. You will want to know which one of those lines you're in, especially at the start of the day when it's going to be about an hour long. So some of these shops, make sure you know what language line you're in. Also, sometimes there'll be just some guy holding a sign. It'll be in German and it'll say, this is the back of the line. Now, if you don't speak German, that's not as helpful as they think it is. So working out, like the line for the De Vere booth did not start near the De Vere booth, let's put it that way. So many people talk about Essen as being just a trade show though. It's like, oh, it's just one big shop, that's all Essen is. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Yes, you can buy all manner of the menagerie of board games, but you have the chance to play those games. Sometimes it's going to be difficult to get in on the demos and all that, and there is always going to be a bit of a language barrier perhaps, but there's so many English-speaking demoers. The Europeans, they're good at English. And I feel as though, even though there isn't the open gaming space that a lot of people want from a convention, this isn't trying to do that, but you will have the chance to play so many games that you haven't even heard of, things that you're interested in. You won't have the chance to do that here. I absolutely promise. Coffee?
Yeah, for free.
Thank you so much. Free coffee. Did you get free coffee at Gen Con? No. Maybe. Maybe Toss It, the game, is at Gen Con as well. Cheers. Oh, it's as hot as the sun. One thing that I think is important to remember at Spiel is that the people who make the game that you like might not be the people who make the game that you like in Germany. For instance, we're at the yellow booth right now and they've got all unmatched. You'd think that there'd be a Restorations games booth, but this is where the unmatched stuff is. For the first time ever, the Friday and the Thursday of Spiel, at least so far, have been sold out. You can't get tickets on the door. It's wild, and there's going to be some very disappointed people. If you are coming to Spiel, buy your tickets in advance. It's not worth not being able to get in. It really isn't. These German game booths, to me, they're the promised land. My favourite thing about being here. A lot of the games I've shown off on these Q&As have been from shops like that. They're selling German language mostly, German games, but like old little card games. But it's a great place to get a bunch of stuff like Turn and Taxis, Zularetto, those type of things. Those really classic German Euro hobby board games. There's loads of those. I've seen about 4 or 5 of these, and you got to hunt through and find them. They're worth going to. I don't think everyone does, and you have to do a little bit of pushing to get to the front of the line, but they're totally worth, for me, they're worth going to. Another thing that I think is really unexpected about Spiel is how good it is for kids here. So many of the different booths, like Haber that we've just seen, I'm not going to film too many of the kids playing or anything, but so many of those places are, you know, they're full of kids, they're all playing these big giant versions of silly games, they're all having a great time. And there's actually way more to do for kids here than you think there's going to be. We're just walking past another Gecko. I think they do like educational kids toys, but this is set up for children. And kids can have a great time here. I've seen, you're going to want to look after them. Don't let them roam free. But there's a lot more for kids here than people who just say, oh, Essen's just a trade show. It isn't like that. One of the things that I love about Spiel so much is it's a place where international board game sellers can do their thing, right? There's this Taiwan board game design, one of my favorite companies, and they're here doing, like, bringing the games from Taiwan. Let's see if we can wave and let's see if we can get away. So they're international, right? They've all come here to think that to get their games here. But I would suggest, and I don't always do this, I suggest pre-ordering games if you are desperately going to want them, because the games from Taiwan Board Game Design, for instance, are gonna sell out. There's one game I was really hoping to get, really wanted, and it's gone. And I was like, oh no, and it went. This is the one I wanted. I didn't know I wanted it before I got here, and everyone started talking about it, but pre-order those games that you absolutely are desperate to get, but don't pre-order so many that you have to spend your whole spiel picking them up, because that's going to take a lot of time. My personal Essen mentality is to organize a few things, try to make a few demos, try to get the things that you really want to get, but allow yourself that time to just wander the halls looking at games from publishers that you don't know. Allow yourself that time, because so many of those little gems come from that kind of time where you allow yourself to wander, fall into a booth, get a demo that you weren't expecting to take, and then falling in love with a little game. That's the beauty of Essen. Moving between the halls at Essen is probably one of the most challenging and frustrating parts of being here. The halls are so busy, as we've said before, but you always hear of Essen veterans say, just take the shortcut. And you think, are you insane? The shortcut? But they exist. They actually exist. This is the shortcut right here. Let me take it. Thank you. So this is coming out of the Galleria, and instead of going into Hall 3, which is hell, we're going to cut through this way and get into the hall this way, which saves a lot of time. There's actually a shortcut between Hall 2 and Hall 6, which is very useful if you're trying to use those bathrooms we were talking about in Hall 7. Let me tell you, if you see doors like this, you can go through them. You don't have to go through the halls. This is just an example of what some of the corridors feel like at Essen. I mean, this is hellish, right? Nightmare. I feel like more and more each year, there's just an increasing amount of other things than board games. There's so much more art here, it feels like, than last year or the year before. And if that's what you want to do, the convention, or you want to have some time off from the games, just to look at some nice things, Artist Alley, which is here at the moment, we're in Hall 2. We're in Hall 2. And there's Artist Alley, you can go and look at all this wonderful art. It's so nice that that's more and more prevalent now at Essen than ever before. At least for this year, and I think classically, Hall 1, which is where we are now, is all about TCGs, and there's some miniatures gaming stuff in here as well. Warhammer's in this hall, for instance. But you've got like One Piece card game, Lorcana, all the big card games, but also a chance to try out little, small card games that you may not have heard of. I mean, they've got Yu-Gi-Oh, but they've also got extra other games that are just a smaller TCGs, which I really enjoy the chance to get my hands on. So if TCGs is what you want, to think, well, Essen's just board games, but really I'm a card gamer, you can still do Essen. You can come in, spend all your time here, take part in the tournaments that go on, just take time playing the game. It's a great excuse and a great chance to do that type of stuff. Or maybe it's miniatures and war games and painting. There's a huge painting competition going on here, all that type of stuff. Like I said, Warhammer's here. Every miniatures game I can know of is here, which is maybe not my area of expertise, but there sure are a lot of them. So it's not all just about board games. It's art, card games, TCGs, miniatures, painting, everything to do with games, or accessories, or second-hand games, or weird old German games, or interesting new Japanese card games and Korean and Taiwanese card games. Maybe you just want a sword. Essen's got you covered. You can demo a whole game here and play the whole thing. It's definitely possible. We just played Butterfly Garden, the new Knizia game, and the reason I'm picking this game specifically to tell you about is because I just won.
Classy.
I thought he was pretty classy. Yeah, we bought it. Of course we bought it. And I bought a trick-taking card game that I'll probably talk about at some point. I got sold it, but I tell you what, it did look very cool.
I was tempted to buy it if you did.
That's another Essen in the books. Who's keeping count? Someone. That's why I feel compelled to be here every year. Am I missing out on all the cool things? Am I even a board game content creator if I don't come here? The answer to that is you are. You don't have to come to Essen. Which is an important point. You don't have to come to Essen. If what I've shown you here didn't look fun, looked chaotic, hectic and miserable, there are a load of games that I've been tempted to buy that I've just gone, I'll get that when it comes out. If the game is good, really good, someone's going to pick it up, it's going to get a wider release, it'll be out. That's really important to remember. Essen isn't compulsory to be a board gamer. It just isn't, and anyone who says otherwise is wrong. It isn't a compulsory necessity that you have to do. I do it because I live in the UK and it's very close and I can stay with my friends who live in Dusseldorf just up the road. But thank you so much for watching another question answer over here on Watch It Played. I appreciate you all so much. Next month we'll probably be back to normal. But until then, thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself and bye.